In this video, I'm going to talk about power. Power we indicate with the P measured in watt. Okay, so power is defined as the time rate of change of energy or simply rate of doing work. We already talked about power in the previous video. So the most important point I want you to learn in this video, how do we know whether that element is producing power or consuming power? So element is nothing but it could be a voltage source or current, a voltage source, resistor, inductor, or capacitor, or current source. Okay, so how do we know whether that element is either producing power or consuming power? So we know one important point: resistance never produce electrical power. Resistance always consume the electrical power. It gives out either heat or light. Okay, now when it comes to the battery, does it give you power all the time? No, not really. What about when it is recharging? When it is recharging, it is taking power or taking energy. Okay, so if it is a battery, we don't know whether it is supplying energy or consuming energy. So we cannot define that now. But the resistor, it always consumes the electrical energy. Now, so these two statements you need to remember, or at least one statement is good enough. If an element is delivering power, so it is giving the power, then a positive current will enter into the negative terminal, or a positive current will leave the positive terminal of the element. So if element is delivering power, then that means a positive current is leaving the positive terminal. Then we'll say that element is delivering the power. If element is consuming power, then a positive current is entering the positive terminal. Okay, so remember this consuming power, then opposite is delivering power. So if you look at this example, in this example, VA, VB, he gave you VAB. So here is the positive terminal and negative terminal. So VAB equal to 10 volts. So is this element consuming power or delivering power? So first we'll find power value. P equal to V times I. V is 10, current is 2. So this is 20 watt. So a 2 ampere is going out of the negative terminal. That means 2 ampere is entering the terminal. So if 2 ampere is entering the terminal, the same 2 amperes will leave the terminal. Nothing is going to be wasted inside the element. So basically assume that there are 2 electrons are entering here. The 2 electrons must come out here. But the only difference is the amount of energy they are carrying. So here they enter with lots of energy. When they come here, there will be no energy or very small amount of energy which is sufficient to reach the terminal, negative terminal. So here a positive current 2 ampere is entering the positive terminal. So for sure this element is consuming power. Okay, so this is consuming power. How much power? That's a 20 watt. Now I'll solve a couple of more examples to find power. In this example, find which element is consuming energy and which element is supplying energy in the following circuit. Or which element is, instead of energy, I would say power. Which element is consuming power, which element is supplying power. Power and energy is same, the only difference is the time. So we know that energy equal to power times time. Okay, now anyhow, so there are 4 elements connected basically in series. We haven't talked about series yet. Series and parallel, those things are introduced in the future chapter. So the important statement we need to remember, if current is entering, a positive current is entering the positive terminal, then that element is consuming power. So here he gave you 2 ampere right there. the same 2 ampere is going there, same 2 ampere is going there, same 2 ampere, same 2 ampere. So I'm going to take this as element 1, element 2, 3, 4. So if you look at element 1, is it supplying power or consuming power? Current is entering the negative terminal. So if current is entering the negative terminal, that is supplying power. How much power? 20 times 2. 20 is the voltage, 2 is the current, so 40 watt. And element 2, a current is entering the positive terminal, then that is consuming. How much it is consuming? 10 times 2. 10 is the voltage, 2 is the current, so 20 watt. Element 3, again this is supplying because current is entering the negative terminal. So 20 times 2, 40 watt, that is supplying. And element 4 here, 30 times 2, that's consuming, so 60 watt. Now the important thing is, in any closed circuit, closed circuit is nothing but a circuit. If you start walking from one point and reach the same point without touching any element more than once. So see, I can come over here and go around and come back to the same point. It's called closed circuit. So in any closed circuit, power supply equal to power consumed. Okay, power consumed. This is really important. Okay, in any closed circuit, power supply must be equal to the power consumption. So if you look at here, supply 40 watt, total 80, and consuming 20 plus 60, 80 watt. Now here is the next example. In this example, he is asking about find the voltage drop across element 6. So he is asking about what is the Vx. Another important thing, he gave you some negative values. We can convert that negative values into positive values. How do we change that? By changing the polarity. So what I can do here, this is positive and negative, make it as 5 volt, and negative positive, make this as 8 volt, and here change the direction, make this as 3 ampere. Okay, so the important thing we need to know, if current is entering the positive terminal, then that element is consuming power. If current is entering the negative terminal, that element is supplying power. Okay, those are the important things we need to know. Now another important thing is, in any closed circuit, total energy consumption must be equal to the total energy supply. Okay, now we'll look into each element. Element 1 right here, 2 times 2, 4 watts. Where did I get that 2? 2 is already given. Okay, that's right there. So the current passing through here also 2 ampere. Whatever current entering element 1, it must go out of the element 1. So element 1, 2 times 2, which is 4 watt, it is supplying. Element 2, okay, current is entering negative terminal. Okay, negative terminal, so that is also supplying 8 times 2, 16 watt. Element 3, right here, 4 amperes is entering the positive terminal, so that must be consuming 40 watt. And element 4, 5 ampere is entering the negative terminal, so it must be supplying. Element 6, so 3 ampere is down here, so that means 3 ampere right there and 3 ampere right there. So element 5, it is consuming 3 times 5, 15 watt. Element 6, we don't know the voltage here. I'm going to take that as Vx. So Vx times 3 amperes, we don't know that value. So we know that in any closed circuit, power supply must be equal to the power consumption. So we have around this much supply, which is 70 watt, 4 plus 16 plus 50. And so find the power, we end up with 15 watt. So voltage as 15 volt. Okay, that's about power. So in this video, we learned about power. So if a positive current entering the positive terminal of an element, that element is consuming power. That's one important point we learned. Another important point is if current is entering in any closed circuit, power consumed must be equal to power supply. Okay, I will stop this video here. In the next video I'm going to talk about energy. Thank you.